So I finally got to wear my Halloween costume. Makes sense for this review, and it sucks. I didn't iron it or anything. Look at this. Whatever. Okay? You understand? Look, I'll stand up right here. Boom! Let's talk about Gladiator 2 and how bad it was. I mean, how good it was. All right, y'all. Who put this thing? This thing's driving me nuts. Gladiator 2. Woo! Sometimes movies should not have a sequel. Okay? They did it with Dumb and Dumber. Shouldn't have a sequel. Jaws had a sequel, which wasn't bad. But sometimes these movies, they don't need a sequel. Okay? We'll talk about Gladiator 2. Man, oh man. Director Ridley Scott goes back into action on his first blockbuster movie, Gladiator, making a second one, bringing Pedro Pascal in it. You got this guy, I forgot what his name was already. You got Denzel Washington. And from the looks of it, looking at the trailer, I was like, not feeling it. We'll see what happens with this movie. So let's talk a little bit about the positives in this movie, okay? Positive. Excuse me. The positives in this movie is you got Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington makes this movie. Okay? Denzel is the only reason why you should even waste your time going to watch this movie, okay? Let me tell you, when the baboon slash monkey slash dog things came out, and this dude right here bit bit the monkey, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. We are in for a long, long movie. CGI was off. I was like, what's with these monkeys? Why do they look like this? And why did when he bit them, they all stopped. They stopped moving. They just stopped. Stopped attacking everything. Whatever. Let's brush past that. Like I said, let's talk about Denzel Washington. That's what's probably what I'm going to be talking about. Most of it is Denzel Washington. By the way, it's going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, this is the time to take to turn this off because I'm about to spoil it all for you. Okay, um, Denzel Washington. Okay, loved his acting. Anything this man does, touches, turns into gold. Okay. Really, really good stuff here. Thought he was going to be just a minor role in it, ending up being, spoiler alert, remember, spoil. So don't go and listen to more of this video if you don't want this spoiled. If not, stick around and let's hear some. Denzel Washington ends up being the bad guy, and everyone's like, oh, I saw that coming. I was like, you know what? To be honest with you, I mean, you could see it, but I didn't think they were going to take it that way. They took it that way, and I liked it. I really liked how he was involved. Now, him killing the two twin brothers, which is another ones that were like, these guys were goofy as hell. And yes, I know there were real life people in back in the day. I understand, but still, I just didn't understand what was the reason behind how did they become how did they take over? How were these guys the leader of Rome? That was something I wanted to know, and the movie never kind of touched base on it. They just said these guys are bizarre and crazy, and you know, it's like whatever. It is what it is. But this guy here again plays Maximus's son. He had his quirks. He had his movement, him grabbing, the sand, rubbing his hands. So he had that down packed. I just didn't care for his story arc or his story at all. I mean, we've heard it before. We've seen it in the first one. His wife gets killed in the beginning. Now he's on like a murderous rampage looking for Pedro Pascal because he was the guy that did it. And I really didn't like the transition to that and the fact that people's motives from one page to the next, they're just automatically he's like, you know what? We spent the whole time in this movie, he's trying to go after Pedro, and then finally he gets to, fight Pedro, and it's just like, you know what, never mind. We're cool, we're cool. And I was like, come on. Same thing with his mom. him and his mom had issues. He hates his mom, this and that. She comes in a couple scenes and he's like, you know what, okay. Like, I don't know. I just like their motive and the way they transition and how quickly they are. They were so set on something, and all of a sudden, you know, the wind blows the other way, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? Never mind. My motives changed. Yeah, forget it." So that's the only thing. I would say it was pretty interesting seeing the arena filled with water and, sharks, not only devouring people, but once you fall in the water, you're done. The sharks are going after you. I found it interesting, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's a little ridiculous, and I know they said, they've done that in the past and this and that, but like I said, I wasn't too big of a fan. I try not to compare the original one to the second one, but it's hard not to when the second one relies so much on the first one and even gets gets scenes from the original, the first one, and they switch it up to make it so that they could make a second movie. So other than that, I'll probably give this movie a 5 out of 10. Probably won't watch it again. I watched it on Paramount Plus. Streaming is the best way to do it. I'm glad I didn't watch this movie in the movie theaters. Um, but it is what it is. Like I said, I try not to be too biased comparing it to the original, but it's really, really hard not to. You just can't replicate Russell Crowe. You can't replicate that movie. That movie should be a standalone and by itself and should have never been made. But Hollywood is Hollywood, and this is what happens. But other than that, my name is Maximus Aurelius, and I say bye.